Hey friends, how's it going? So, what am I working on now? Well, when it rains, it pours. As you know, in this business, you get things that just don't work out the way you want them to. Sometimes you get things that are comebacks. Sometimes it's customer's fault. Sometimes it's your fault. I mean, it happens. We make mistakes. Things go wrong. I own them when I make mistakes. Like I said, I'm not perfect. But this is one that we unfortunately have to eat this repair, and it's not our fault at all, not at all. But it's kind of one of those situations of what are you going to do? How are you going to do this? How are you going to convince the customer that it's not your fault? And it's like at a point of, do you want to get into a fight with the customer, or even just listen to the back and forth that you know is going to occur? What am I even talking about? Well, recognize that thing? That is the one that I had to redo the tranny on. The one that I built, and then a piece of junk or something got stuck up inside the transmission. And yes, it was from the speedometer gear. Has to be. It's the only thing we could think of, because there was a buildup of like dried up silicone on the end of it, and a piece must have just fallen off and gotten in there. So we just made sure we got everything nice and clean, put it all back together, new O-ring and everything else, got it all back together. So went to go start it. You know what that is, right? Okay. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's a mechanical fuel pump. Okay. This thing's a carbureted 302. As a mechanical fuel pump. See that little hole right there? That's a vent. Because there's a diaphragm in here that goes up and down. It pumps up and down to create fluid pressure. So on one side it'll suck the fluid in, and then on the other side it'll push the fluid out. Well, actually it happens all on the same side technically. There's like one-way valves in there. Started this thing up, fuel started spraying everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, like, wow, what the heck is going on? Like, as soon as we started smelling fuel. Like, what the heck's going on? And it was pouring on the floor. Like, uh-oh, shut it down. Jaden sat in because we weren't sure where it was coming from. Did a line break? What the heck happened? We didn't touch anything in the fuel system. So he sat in and I put it up in the air. He starts it up, and I mean, it was just gushing out and spraying everywhere. So it's just like, okay, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. So he shuts it down, and like I said, it's coming out of that vent hole right there. So now we got to put a fuel pump on it. So here we have a customer that's already not happy. They're already, upset, and rightfully so, because they had to come in and leave their vehicle again for the transmission, which failed. It failed after 1 week. Did we, we're owning it. Should we have caught that? Sure, we should have caught that. We should have made sure there was no junk on there. The likelihood of that actually happening again is very unlikely. I mean, in another situation like that, where I can't tell you how many times I've seen transmissions with silicone galore all over it and never have a problem. So this one just happened to get unlucky, and it messed up the transmission, got stuck in the governor, and ruined it. So, a case like this, it's like we're better off just eating this. Now, I know some of you out there are going to be like, oh, heck no, I would never do that. I would never do that. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's worth tucking your tail between your legs a little bit and just getting it over and done with. We're going to tell them, hey, just so you know, we wound up putting a new fuel pump on it. But we're not going to charge them because, like I said, if this was a different situation, like, hey, the fuel pump just started leaking, like it just came in for an oil change, we'd point it out, say, hey, your fuel pump's leaking. That's a completely different scenario. But since this is already a situation of the customer's bitter, and rightfully so, like I said, we're going to make good on this, and we're going to put a fuel pump in it. I mean, these are not terribly expensive, and the labor is not incredible either, but it's just, there again, it's a waste of time and money. But sometimes you have to do this to keep your reputation and to get future business too. Like I said, if he came in here for a rear end or brakes or something like that, and then we took it on a road test and it started leaking, that's a completely different story. But the fact that what has happened to this point, it changes things. So I'm going to change this fuel pump. I can't walk you through the entire aspect of this only because of how tight it is up here. But let me just show you what's going on. So let's see. There's the pump right there. So as you can see, my area is super tight. You can see it's nice and dry. That's because the gasoline just cleaned it down. So I got to break the line free here. I can't tell if there's a rubber line there. I don't know if somebody just sectioned in a piece of rubber. I'm assuming they probably did. I got to take this piece off here, this rubber hose here off. I have plenty of room up there so I can actually cut it and then put another clamp on it. And then we got to unbolt it and take it out. But there's just no room for me to do this and film at the same time. So let me get parts of this off and then I'll show you that. Okay, and the lines are disconnected. Came apart no problem. Like I said, I cut the one line. If fuel starts pouring out, you can shove a bolt or something in the end of the hose there. You know, something to just stop it, or use pinch-off pliers. It really doesn't matter. This is connected to like a piece of rubber hose up there somewhere. Not really too concerned about it. So now I got to get those two 5/8, I think they're 5/8 or 9/16, maybe 9/16 bolts out that hold the pump in place, and then work the pump out. So. All right, let me get that going. All right, so here's the old one that's out. You can see everything was pouring out of there. It cleaned that side of the pump off pretty good. But like I said, I didn't want to take a chance. One thing you got to be mindful of with a mechanical pump, I don't know if it's got any left in it. It might have poured out when I got it out. But sometimes that pump can actually pump the raw fuel into the crankcase through that opening there. And I've seen that before. I've had vehicles come in where the crankcase is full of gasoline. I mean, full of gasoline. And it's because the fuel pump fails. It doesn't happen often. Last time I saw that, it happened to be last year for the Camaro IROC. That was, what, 84? 85? Before they went to fuel injection, that had a 4-barrel carburetor. It was an IROC. It was a 4-barrel carburetor car, stick shift. Yeah, and it filled that thing up with gasoline. Yeah, I mean, I must have gotten 10, 15 quarts out of that thing. Woo, yeah, it was bad. So anyway, that's all off. So now I got to try to clean that gasket surface up there. And also, I know it's kind of hard to see. Get up there with a rag and try to clean off as much as I can. So I'm going to get that clean. Now, one thing when I'm doing stuff like this, I try, if I can, to use air instead of use my electric stuff, because electric stuff makes sparks and you're dealing with gasoline. So I'd rather not. I'd rather avoid a fire if possible. So there's something to keep in mind. You're dealing with gasoline. Don't use an electric drill. Don't use electric ratchets, stuff like that. Electric impacts. You know, if you guys especially got gas fumes or any kind of a flammable or any kind of a fume like that where you can cause a fire, just be mindful of it. That's why you need air. So. Or do it by hand, one or the other. So let me get that cleaned off. We'll continue. All right, so one thing I just want to see if I did have, there it goes. See, there's fuel coming out of that. Now, one thing you're going to want to do too is compare your old pump and your new pump, because I can tell you I've seen that happen before too, where somebody will get a new pump, install it, and try to figure out why it doesn't work. So hold on. You should always compare parts regardless. So you want to compare and make sure the arms are the same, and you know they're the same. You know, make sure the fittings are the same. Make sure the bolt up is the same. Okay, that stuff really makes a difference. Trust me. It's not often that I've seen it, but I have seen it. Now, last but not least, one little trick that you guys may not be aware of, and that is the gasket. Okay, here's the gasket. Now all I'm going to do is what is that? General purpose trim adhesive spray. stuff works wonders. But it gets all over your fingers and stuff like that, and that's not fun all the time. So now, just get that to sit down on there like that. You're gonna have to reposition it once or twice. But then when that glue dries, it's nice. It's nice and in place. Sometimes what I do too is I have contact cement. I actually am out of it. But just regular rubber contact cement that you would buy at like your local big box store, like home improvement store, you know, Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, I'll use that too. But that spray stuff I think works really well because it makes a nice contact pattern all the way around. So just gonna let that dry and just let that sit like that, and then we're good. See, I just stuck it in a vise. And now, unfortunately, I can't show you this installing it, but what I usually do is I'll get this up in place, get one bolt caught through like this, and then usually, like, if the bolts are lined up like this, I'd have to have it like at an angle, get the bolt caught, and then rock it up to the other one to get that one caught, if you know what I mean. Because what has to happen too is you have to push, that lever has to get pushed down like that, and that's what creates the pumping action. So, yeah, sometimes that could be a pain or a bear to get in place. So let me get this up in there, and unfortunately, like I said, I cannot show you. And there we go, it's in place. Now, what I had to do is I actually had to rotate the engine over by hand because the cam was at the bottom of its lobe, or, you know, the lobe was basically pushing at its furthest extent on the pump itself, on the lever for the pump. So it's very difficult to get lined up. So I had to rotate the engine over about one turn to get the lobe on the opposite side. Sorry about that. I had to get the lobe on the opposite side so it was at its lowest point to get the pump to actually go in. And then you still have to kind of force it a little bit because it still always has pressure on that arm. So now I can hook the lines back up, put a new clamp on there, and we should be good to go. Yeah, so let me finish all that up. And there we go, done, complete. So now, start it up. Keep our fingers crossed that everything's good. All right, let me let this down. Running. No fuel spraying everywhere. And obviously it's got an exhaust leak. And that was one of the main reasons too, we didn't want to leave it running. Because you got an exhaust leak, that means you could have a flame right there. And obviously you could start a fire pretty easy. All right, so that's going to end this video, you know, with the fuel pump and that. We got to check the fluid on this thing and then road test it for the transmission, but that's a different story. So, all right, well, I hope you got something out of that. If you did, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.